What's going on, folks? Hope you're having a wonderful night or day. It's been a little while since we've covered some QUINFALL. I know there's been a lot of chatter around this game, a little bit of good, and I know there was a whole lot of bad. I know there were some deep dives and information that came out about the game. I don't have a lot of time to look into that. I actually have a baby in my hand right now, so clearly I am in a little bit of a rush here. So we're going to be talking about the first closed beta interview because I'm about 3 months behind information-wise. So we're going to be starting where we left off in a sense. And about 3 months ago, they released a 39-minute-ish video on YouTube that went over some of the questions that the community had. And the interviewer talked with a couple of people from Vawraek Technologies, like one of the lead developers, someone from the GM team, and someone from the content team as well. So the first question was, after the beta is released, whether it's closed or open or otherwise, as in, what will the map size be during any of the upcoming betas? Their response is they have no restrictions planned from the first closed beta up until release. The entire map of the game will be available and presented to the players. They have no plans to keep us in a restricted area, and this is where they reconfirm that the map will be 2016 kilometers squared in size. Which, by the way, I did a little bit of a brief video on this before, but the map size is fucking huge. Skyrim, just to put it into perspective, is about 37, I forgot actually, about 34, 37 kilometers squared. So you can fit like 10 plus Skyrims into one subsection of the map. It's pretty big. Now, one thing I want to make clear during this video is there are going to be certain topics coming up especially that I'm not really going to harp on too much because, first of all, I've never really been a deep dive drama sort of YouTuber. That's not really my forte. I'm not that good at it. I don't really enjoy it. The thing I do enjoy is reading through the information, delivering it, and then when the game comes out, I just care about, is it good, is it not? That's really all that matters to me. I could really care less about some of the extra stuff like monetization or what have you. Not really that invested in any title anymore, so just fair warning. Now, the next question, which is one of the ones I had to preface this for, is will your game feature pay-to-win systems, which are common? There is also a platform name mentioned. This platform is a well-known website. Don't know what they're talking about, but I would imagine it's probably related to some of the deep dives people have done. They said different e-pens are sold to these sites. Do you have any connections with this? Do you have any sponsorships with this? Players were asking. Their response to this is, regarding this, they do not have any partnerships with companies whose names you did not mention. It is clear that there were no pay-to-win elements in their past projects. Their past projects, by the way, were Kyra Online. Quick thing I want to say before continuing, I remember researching into Kyra Online myself, and I'm pretty sure after the details that I found, I don't think it actually ever made it past the open beta, if even that. So I don't think it really had a chance to, incorporate pay-to-win mechanics because people normally do that, sometime after the game is launched or whatever. But anyway, they then say that they can easily say that it is not pay-to-win, assuming they're referring to QUINFALL. He, meaning the person being interviewed, sees that there are false and wrong statements about it. No one can easily tell with a single look whether an MMORPG game you haven't played is pay to win or not. Gonna have to disagree there. You can normally tell pretty easily by looking at the cash shop. But they said that they have seen false and wrong information about Kyra Online. They said that they want to clarify a game cannot be called pay to win without knowing its content. Neither QUINFALL nor Kyra Online is pay to win. As for QUINFALL, the project we're talking about right now will definitely not be pay to win. And in short, he can say that any game that he's involved with cannot be pay to win. This is something he states as a certainty. Which, by the way, the person that is interviewing is named Sirion. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And the person that is being interviewed at this section is called Frenzy, who is a founder and senior developer of, I assume, Vawraek Technologies and QUINFALL. Now, I'm going to say, and no offense to the developers, that I would take this with a little bit of a grain of salt because I don't think every single instance in which we've seen pay to win make its way into games was entirely planned from the beginning. I think once people start to lose player numbers and start losing money, and you're talking about people having to be laid off, sometimes it's a little bit of a different situation where it's like, do you shut the game down or introduce stuff like that? So I wouldn't say with 100% certainty that we'd never see pay to win in this game, but I've also got a skeptical mindset when it comes to MMOs, so don't mind me too much on that. But anyway, the next question was, when the game is released, will it be a one-time purchase or a monthly payment? Their response, it'll be published on Steam only, and it will simply be a one-time payment. Apart from that, they'd also like to point out that because there's confusion about these systems, many of the players have heard of something called a V-coin. And the purchases in the cash shop are also done through V-coin. But the QUINFALL team says that this coin can only be purchased through the Steam platform, so it's completely safe. This is the first time I'm hearing about it, but from the sounds of it, I would imagine people probably found out about this early on and thought it was some kind of crypto thing, so that's probably why they ended up addressing it in this interview. Another person asked, when it comes to going to the tavern, Are there going to be any interactions at the table? Like, are we going to be able to drink with our friends? How extensive are the RPG elements? Their response is one of the features they pay the most attention to in the world of QUINFALL is the RPG elements. All of the crucial elements of a traditional MMORPG is present. Player versus environment, player versus player, many of the usual systems are ready, but whether it's minigames in taverns, interactions between players and other players in voice chat, all of these will provide the player with a truly role-playing experience in a comprehensive way. By the way, you probably noticed it by this question alone, but there's probably going to be parts where I'll be paraphrasing or adding a little bit more detail because the general translation didn't make a lot of sense, so I'll be going off the rails to tell you a little bit more about what they're probably talking about. In this case, we have actually seen a couple minigames in the tavern, most notably this card game that we saw in the trailer, so we already know that there will be at least a couple of role-playing elements when it comes to the tavern. Personally, for myself, I just want some blackjack so I can remember myself playing Pirates of the Caribbean online as a kid. As long as I get some of that, I'll be good. Another person asked about V-Coins after this. Their question was, will you only sell them from places and other sites that are non-refundable or only Steam? They already answered this, but they addressed it again, basically stating that they will only be able to be purchasable through Steam. There's also not going to be any funny situation, their words of people being able to buy V-Coins in the beta and stuff like that. And they also said that it wasn't even available in Cairo Online, the previous project. And they're emphasizing at this part that there was a lot of misinformation and they're trying to correct those rumors. They also said that later on, when the opportunity arises for these V-Coins to be sellable, they'll be available only through Steam and refund rights will be present. Not sure if that part's true though, somebody will have to correct me on this, but I don't know how Steam handles when it comes to currency purchases through their platform. I don't know if it's in the same realm as being able to refund a game after 2 hours, for instance, so we'll have to see exactly how that part turns out. The next person asked if we could ride horses, and the team made a joke about it. I didn't fully understand it at first, but yeah, we can ride horses and other mounts. We've seen that in trailers and other gameplay footage, so we're good there. The next question was about how are you going to get PvE players to coexist with PvP players. Their response is the game is PvP and PvE. We also learned about this previously, but the main reason for the channel system when entering the game is to categorize the players in as dynamic a world as possible. The purpose of categorization here is to be able to separate the playstyles of both players without degrading each other's playstyle. Also, to offer bonuses related to them. So they give an example. If the game is completely open PvP when you enter Channel 1, this means you can be attacked by players outside of safe zones. There is no complete loss of items, aka full loot, but at any time in the open world you may be killed dynamically by another player in the game. When you enter the second channel, Player vs Environment, you can see that PvE content is more efficient and gives you more resources, but PvP is still on. And then in Channel 3, for example, you could see that Player vs Player is completely disabled, but you perform life skills less efficiently. The interviewer then wanted to make a comment on that subject. They said that they are a player who likes PvP, to which Frenzy, the senior developer, answered that he is also one of those players. And then they say that that is why they have systems in place like this that allow you to build a house or a village with your clan, but something to keep in mind is that while you're out building your house, taking care of animals or doing something else, you may suddenly get an arrow in your head. There are some that dislike the dynamics in this game, so they give both options to the player as a result. If you decide to go into the PvP channels, you'll be doing a more dangerous job. You'll be more productive in your job and get more bonuses for doing it on a PvP channel, but if you would rather conduct it more safely in a PvE one, you can do that too with a very small difference in efficiency. Which I don't think is a good idea personally. I think if you're on a PvP channel, you should be rewarded for being on a PvP channel. I know that there will be players that prefer PvE that say that you shouldn't have it be such a big bonus that you feel forced to go onto the PvP channel, but I think it should be good enough to at least incentivize it, because if you're taking the risk to be on a PvP server and gather, you should naturally be able to get rewarded for that somehow. And also because if it's not much different on the Player vs Environment channels, then everybody who's PvP based and planning on gathering is just going to switch over, because why would you take the risk if you could just farm unhindered and not have to worry about it? Next question was about life skilling. The player wanted to know how complicated the life skills are. Since we're in 2024, they don't want to see a simplistic minigame system for life skills and would rather have more complexity in these systems than just collecting materials and logging out. They also ask if the game has a mastery system. Their response: the current number of professions is 16. Among them, they have traditional occupations such as harvesting, logging, mining, fishing. All of them have stages you develop from level 1, which they currently have a maximum grade of 20 to 50 levels, and after 50 to grade 20 as they reach it, which I don't know exactly what they're saying here. I think they mean maybe after you get to level or grade 20 in the profession, you'll start to experience this. But they say as they reach 10 levels, you get a different bonus and become a master in the profession. And as we become more efficient, we gain different features in the profession. So yeah, I think they might be talking about after you get to 20 grade, every 10 levels after that, we get a bonus all the way up to level 50. But don't quote me on that. I'll have to do a little bit more research into that before I know exactly how that works. They also said that these professions will have different features, including mini games, and in a dynamic world, we also have different factors that can affect this as well. Case in point, there are currently 3 seasons: summer, autumn, and winter. I guess they don't like spring. You can see the transition dynamically in real time in the game. This is not just for visual purposes, so it also causes differences in the game's ecosystem. All of the plants you see in vegetation related to harvesting, all scattered greenery, all of that decreases and increases with the seasons. And accordingly, players can store items for the winter. According to their plan, you'll also be able to sell materials you have stored at a more valuable price. Or if we plan to use them in the winter, we can also do that too. The players also wanted them to give a better explanation on the profession called laborer. With this profession, players can employ other players, and apparently there are people that have been comparing this to a slavery system. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know where that came from, but I thought it was kind of funny when I read it that way. But anyway, their response is that for it to be slavery, that would require you not to give the other player money, which, yeah, no shit. So they have a 2-worker system, which is under the control of NPCs, which the players may already know. So real players will be able to help other players in their professions as workers. And they'll do this by helping them and getting money in return for it. And another detail about the labor system is that in order to improve your profession, they don't really specify if this is the labor profession or if it's the profession that you're signing up for. I need to do a job that you have given me, but if I don't do that job, my reliability score also decreases. And at this point, another employer cannot give me a job and doesn't want to give me a job. You can increase or decrease this score based on mutual agreements and depending on the work done or not done. The different jobs and tasks can also be given to workers at different points, such as harvesting crops. You can have them do a specific crafting process or have them deliver a product to the tavern. This will also be diversified more over time, both in the closed betas and the early access, but for now we'll have to see how the early stages of this turn out. Another question about professions is that somebody wanted to ask about the profession called transportation. Many of the players did not actually know about this, I didn't, and they wanted to know what the team had to say about it. Their response is that the profession of transportation actually means transporting the player to his place you specify or to the place they want by any vehicle. Whether it's a phaeton, whatever that is, or horse-drawn carriage, the time may be specified, the fee of delivery may be specified. In the game, I think this is separate, but there are also Zeppelin tours that are automatically placed and can be followed on the world map. These Zeppelins are constantly circling a certain route and carry players from City A to City B. When you reach City B, you can go on about your business or continue to travel the world. What the transporting profession does here is not only transportation, but also provides a separate profession and related bonuses to the person doing it. And also, this profession seems to have a reliability score as well. They also wanted to point out that there is a portal system. These portals are available at many points in the game, and we as players are given rules related to them and details for how to use them. They then say something that I'm not really sure how to interpret, but I'm just going to say it and maybe you'll be able to get it. They say that as long as the caravan system covers certain conditions that will not hinder the caravan system, the player can teleport with the portal system. However, they can also add this detail that if you have a lot of products in the caravan system on the Discord channel, the product will be priced as if it was a product in that region. So the second part, I guess I'm kind of getting. I'm thinking maybe if either they have like a marketplace channel on the Discord that, I don't know, possibly might be somehow tied into the game. It's not unheard of, but if it's not, then I'm thinking they mean just, trading with other players in the Discord channel or via the Discord channel. Maybe they're talking about that. But they say, so let's say you're in City A, you have a lot of items on you, you have resources in your inventory. Okay, I think I get what they're saying now. And with the resources, you can't teleport to the biome in City B. Let's say that you're trying to teleport to a snowy area from a desert. You may have to pay a big fee to use the portal. So I think what they were saying before is that as long as you're not carrying something or your character is somehow restricted, then you should be able to teleport. So if you're carrying a very important, possibly PvP based item, I'm assuming you wouldn't be able to teleport in that instance. The next question is optimization. How well is the game optimization working? Their response is that optimization is one of the issues that they pay most attention to. In-depth work has been done on points such as crowded player scenes, and also the rendering of the entire world in Castle Wars, and the data they currently receive allows them to keep a very high number of players together. Even in big fights, they can keep the world running smoothly. They can say that it is in a very good condition right now, which I would have to say that I've seen so many companies say this about their MMORPG and get absolutely ass blasted on day one when it comes to launch. Even in a closed beta, I have a feeling that those servers are going to get completely wrecked. And in the previous trailers we've seen beforehand, these appear to be robots running around, so I have a feeling that when we actually get to closed beta, these servers are going to get wrecked, but I would love to be surprised. I really would. Now, the next question is another fun one. It's regarding ready assets. I believe they're talking about pre-made assets here. The question was, do you use ready models, prepaid models in the game? How common is the use of these assets, and why do you use them? Assuming, again, they mean pre-made assets. Their response is that they use pre-made 3D models. They said that a large amount of pre-made 3D models are available in the game, and the biggest reason for this is to focus on the points that their players like during the development phase of the game, whether it is the content of the game or other elements in the dynamic world. It allows them to spend more time on these other points. Using pre-made 3D models when you already have limited resources, it's a necessity, they've said. The interview with the senior developer ends at this point, and then it's followed up by about 15 minutes of gameplay, which is basically a compilation of clips they've already released, which I also plan to cover later. But towards the end of this, the interviewer is joined by Treyon, which is a game master and test team leader in Vawraek Technologies. The first question asked to Treyon is, will there be game masters in game, or will there be officers who prevent others and monitor players who use cheats? Their response is that they will have a GM team working actively in the game. However, with the system they have developed, they will be able to instantly monitor players who exhibit illegal activities. With the support system, you can actively report to them in the game. I think this is another case where they might be underestimating how many players tend to go for MMORPGs on launch day, like the new ones. And I think there might be far more tickets coming through than they're able to handle at one time. So I wouldn't necessarily count on the ticket being replied to or reviewed instantly, but hopefully that's another thing where they prove me wrong. Next question, will we need to pay any fee through Steam to participate in beta testing? Their response, no, we will not charge any fee to players for the 3 tests that they will conduct during the beta process. We will be able to log into the game without paying any fee, which I can confirm as a player, at least so far, that has now been accepted into the closed beta. I personally haven't needed to pay to gain access, and they've said that there will be no NDA during this upcoming closed beta, so should be able to stream and make a couple of videos for it, hopefully. Next question, will there be doing any live streams on Twitch or in the future? They respond with yes, they have been working on broadcasting content that will enable them to interact with players through various broadcasting platforms, and that they will bring these events to us from the day the game opens. But after this, the interview switches over one last time to another person who is Gallard from the content team. The question asked is, how many different biomes will there be in game? The response is that there will be 4: snow, desert, medium biome, which will be in a more green area, and a swamp biome. At the beginning, players will be able to choose freely where they start, which is pretty cool. And depending on which biome we start in, there will be disadvantages and advantages. And the last question regarding content, will we be able to make coffee with their culinary skills? And the response is yes, they will have a lot of content with cooking. We will have food and drinks that will strengthen our characters, and they're very confident that the players will like this system. Didn't fully answer if coffee will be involved, but I'm assuming they're saying yes. But with that, that's the end of the interview, and I'm losing my voice over here. I need to go get to sleep. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about these questions and answers in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.